In this video, I'm going to show you how to draw this very cute little dog. So I have here right away a selection of brown toned watercolor pencils. I will link the names as below in the description. We are going to start with the lightest colors first. So I'm going to go with a raw umber and just work very lightly, so we're not pressing very hard. So we can just map out some general areas of the dog's face. He's got longer hair, so we can do the longer pencil strokes, and also always do them in the direction of the fur. So I tend to do a layer of this brown, but leaving gaps in between the lines so that you can layer other colours in there as well, rather than just filling up the whole paper with that one colour. I'm just going to pretty much put a layer of this light brown over the entire face. Okay, so that's the base layer of a light colour just on the face section for the moment. I'm going to then get the burnt ochre pencil and just add a bit of orangey, coppery coloured areas, keeping the strokes long, but I'm not covering the entire surface, so I'm just dotting like some strands of more golden fur in amongst the others. Some more around the eyes, because they tend to be a bit darker around the eyes, maybe down the side of his cheeks here, here. So just sprinkling a bit of golden coppery tones in amongst the others. So what will happen eventually is that when we add the water, it's going to blend these colours together. So there, I'll leave it at that for now. Going to add some darker brown now, so for that I'll be using the Walnut Brown. So the darkest areas would be around the eyes, so just building up the colour around the eye, bringing it down, a bit of shade across the side like that. Often in the middle it can be darker. Again, this eye. sections of fur in amongst the lights, just to add some contrast and some values. So there'll be areas of darker fur and there'll be the lighter fur. So there, often down the side of the cheek is often in a bit more shadow, so it's darker around there. So a bit up to the eyes. While I've got this colour out, I'm just going to go under his chin. That's going to be a lot darker because it's in shadow, because all the fur above it is casting a shadow onto the neck area, which is set back a bit. So I'm just popping this in here now since I've got that pencil out. So this one here is dark sepia. Sepia is a grey brown colour, which is often good for shadow areas in brown coloured fur or subjects. So I'm just adding a little layer of that to accentuate the shadow in part. Might do a bit more around the eyes. Usually there's shadow there. Once the first layer is dry, you can also go over it again to darken any areas that you're not quite happy with, so it's not like it's the only layer you can do. I'm just going to do the nose quickly, so I'm going to add some nostrils here. Fill these in by pressing fairly hard. Gently outline the nose, not pressing too hard, and then I will fill it in very lightly with small circular pencil strokes, just a very light layer of the black pencil at this stage, just to see how it's going to turn out, because we can darken areas of it later. So I'm going to leave the nose at that. I'll do the eyes as well, or I outline the eyes with the black. So I'll just add some water at this stage just to show you how it's going to look. So dab the brush in the water, dab it off so there's not too much water in there, so we can control the paint a bit more. And I'm going to work down from the light areas to the darker areas. Like that. So you can see there's already quite a good little fur effect turning out here, where there's light bits, there's dark bits. You might want to do some little flicks across the top. That's most of the lights. I'm just going to go into the darker area now, and you can see how it blends together really beautifully. If you don't like that harsh line, just clean out the brush, dab it so it's fairly dry, and then just kind of run over the edge of it with the flats, with a flat section of brush, so it's more on its side. That will blend it together a bit more. Down there, it's washing out the brush, tapping off most of the water, and then I'm going to come around on this side. Do red. Just go down the side. Down. Try and use the brush in fur-like texture strokes, so sort of like long curved strokes like fur would actually be. Let's blend that bit out here. Do the nose, so I'm just going to do the nostrils first and let them dry. Otherwise, if you add water straight away, it's just going to blend it all together. So while that dries, I'll just darken the shadow area around the chin. So this is just a first layer if you're not happy with how it's turning out, so it's not set in stone as to how it's looking at the minute. So no stress there. I'm probably finding that a little bit too much petal looking, so I'm just dabbed the brush, cleaned it out, and I'm just going to like wipe it down with the side of the brush, blend it out somewhat. Right, and I will just do the nose, very small amount of water so I can control what's happening with the pencil and the brush. Carefully I'll go around the nostrils. If I'm not sure, I'll just leave a little white area around them like that. Looks good. Let's do the ear next. So what I'm going to do for that again is start with the brown burnt ochre to put in some of the essentially here I might make some long curlier looking pencil strokes to mimic the fur in the ear and how it falls in the long layers. Same on this side. Burnt sienna for a minute, which is also a golden brown colour with just a touch of like a red orange tone to it. So I'm just going to do that along that edge of where the ear meets the head and the side of the face. It's darker there. Same again on this side. Ears meet the side of the head, which is darker. I'm going to add here some dark sepia again, so just some little strands coming out there, not all the way down, just some here, some there. Pull a few out into there. Down here would be a few more dark ones because that's more likely to be in shadow. Same on this side, just a few. Mostly just to establish where the ear is and where the side of the head is. So there. Okay, what I'll do then is I'm going to add some water again just to see how it's looking. Sure, dab most of the water off the brush before you apply it, and then very carefully blend it out in first strokes, so you can see the nice tones of the golden brown colours coming through there. So it could probably be a bit darker along the side of the face there. Let's try this one. Put a little bit too much water up the top there, so it gets quite light, which I'm not really happy with, but when it's dry you can just go over it again, which is why the good quality paper is important, because then you can go over it again and do a few different layers. Do the eyes, I think the next step, a good place to see the dog come alive. So I've started off with Walnut Brown for the moment. I'm going to fill all of that in except this little white circle, which is the highlight of the eye. So this tend to make sure I cover more of the paper surface in this one. So he's starting to look pretty cute now. And I'll use the black just to go around the highlight, because that's where the pupil's going to be. Do that. Same on this side. Make sure we don't lose where the eye actually is and amongst the other. So with the again, I'm just going to very lightly, with just the tip of the brush, just add a tiny bit of water, and be careful not to get it into the highlight area. So something like that, and then I'll just go straight in with the same water on the brush and just do this eye. Not quite dark enough there, so I'll come back to that. Thing I want to do is add the other thing I want to do. I'm going to say his tongue's poking out, so I'm going to do that in a very light, a light pink to start with, because we always work from light to dark, and a slightly darker pink, which is coral. I'm just going to go around the top of the mouth like that, and then a little bit down the middle, so that the edges of the tongue are a light pink. Again, I'm just going to add a tiny bit of water. I'm going to make that into a real nice point, and again just dab very gently so you can see what's happening and you can get control of what the colours are doing. So there's part one of our dog.